بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. As you remember, we said we have 10 categories. This is the normal and famous way of classifying the highest types of mahiyat, quantities. So mahiyat are either jawhar or one of 9 types of aras, accidents. And I told you to think about a question. Why we don't say we have 2 categories, jawhar and aras? Why we say 10? So when it comes to aras, we mention the types. Because someone may say, either you should say jawhar and aras, or if you want to count their types, you should say 5 types of jawhar and 9 types of aras becomes 14. Okay? I hope you didn't remember this question. So you are supposed to think and study this question. So when you are ready, you let me know. So we mentioned those 9 types of aras, those 9 categories, that when they exist, they should exist in a subject. Salaam alaikum. إذا وجدت في موضوع. Those 9. Okay? كم كيف أين متى أن يفعل أن ينفعل جدا. All these 9 types of aras. Then jawhar, we said, has 5 types. One is madd. And we said madd is that type of jawhar which is potential, fully potential. It admits forms, surah. So surah is the actuality that comes and belongs to madda. Anything that we have in the physical world is a combination of madda and one or more surah forms. Sometimes one surah comes with madda, makes the basis for the second surah. And then the second surah with the previous parts make the basis for another surah. For example, when it comes to human beings, we say human beings are jism, which is jawharun, means a substance which is possessing 3 dimensions. This becomes jism. Then naumen, it has life. Then hassas and mutaharrik bil irada, which becomes like animals. Then natiqa. So natiqa has come on top of haywan. Haywan is hassas and mutaharrik bil irada on top of jism and nami. Nami on top of jism. Okay? So surah can be in different levels. In any case, we have madda, we have surah, we have jism, which is the substance which has 3 dimensions, or you can say it has height and width and depth And inshallah, I will come back to jism. We have detailed discussion about jism. Then we have nafs. Nafs here is like human soul. Nafs is a substance which is not three-dimensional. It's not jism. It's mujarrad. In its essence, in its substance, it is not physical. It's not material. But it has interaction with material thing, which is our body. Your soul interacts with body. Your soul can have impact on body, and your body can have impact on your soul. You know, sometimes there are things that you eat and may have impact on your feelings. Yeah? There are some chemicals or some food that if you eat, you start laughing and feel happy. Or you may feel sad, or you may feel lazy, you know. So some of the conditions of body can have impact on the soul. On the other hand, soul can have impact on body. In some of the discussions about life, I have said that soul can sometimes be so strong that can even keep body fresh after death. Okay? Even after death, soul can still manage the body and keep the body fresh. So, soul has interaction with body. Philosophers say, in definition of soul, jawharun mujarradun dhatan is an abstract or immaterial substance in essence, but madiyun fi'lan. In its actions, it has connection with the world of contingencies and material things and physical things. Of course, soul is also contingent. What I mean, contingent things in this physical world. And this is why, for example, although our soul has no space, but because of the space that our body occupies, our soul will become limited. For example, you don't know what is happening in another room or another part of the world. Why? Is it because your soul has a space? No, your soul has no space. But our soul happens to know about this world through body, through eyes, ear, different types of senses. And when my body is here, so I can be only aware of here. I cannot even understand what is happening behind my head. Yeah? But soul doesn't have front or back, right or left. Even soul has no space. But the connection between soul and this physical world is through body. Okay? It's like a room that has one little hole, and you are looking at that room from that little hole. You are bigger than hole, but what you know from that room is based on that hole. Okay? Yes.
Is the soul the only creation that has this is of this creation? Or are there other things that have this kind of interaction, which is a dual interaction?
Maybe jinns also. They may also have the same thing, but although they have the same situation, but they are much less capable in their intellectual and spiritual capacity than human beings, especially in intellectual capacity. Okay? You don't know many great philosophers from jinns. Do you know? Maybe some are here learning, but still we don't have great philosophers. Human beings have more intellectual capacity, and this is why they can take control of jinns. And their prophets and messengers are human beings, so they follow our prophets. They don't have prophets of their own. Yeah? But when it comes to physical power, they are stronger. So those who go after spirituality, they follow human prophets. Those who go after spirituality, they follow human prophets. But those who go after physical power, strange power, sometimes they go after jinns. Yeah? And sometimes they do vicious acts in order to please those jinns so that they do things for them. Yes.
What about the Sufis people? I don't know if it's correct, but I heard that the soul, their soul, leave their body and move to other place. The body.
Not necessarily Sufis. This is possible that someone who has little by little reduced his reliance on body, then he can have voluntary death. So instead of letting your death comes by force, you can decide when you want to die. And even you can come back. This is called voluntary death. And I have mentioned, the story of Hakim Heidaji in some of my lectures, that it's a beautiful story. So it's possible because unfortunately we are very much dependent on body, and we don't help also that. Actually, we add to our dependence. For example, imagine, this is a very important point. Human children are very dependent, yeah? They need food, they need drink, they need dress. But the sad thing is we are even more dependent than our children. They are more easily satisfied than us. They are more easily feeling happy than us. So it means that we have developed more needs. While when we grow, we should become much more free and less needy. Yeah? Now, unfortunately, yes. And the more, for example, you become rich, the more you become dependent. The more you become famous, the more you become... Now, even without, say, electricity, without telephone, without mobile, without internet, we cannot survive. So we are moving to a direction that we become more and more needy. And this means that death would become more and more difficult. Yeah, because we are more rooted in dunya. Yeah? Or in other words, there are more ties to fasten us to dunya. So when you want to die, it's not you are losing only money or other things. You are losing also your Facebook. You are losing your followers, Twitter. You are losing many, many things. So death has become even more difficult. So, if you manage to remain like a child, that when child is hungry, then eats. When he eats, he doesn't think about what I'm going to do tonight. Yeah, I don't think any child has the concept of worrying for future, unless we tell them, that you should worry. Otherwise, when their need is met, they are happy. So this means they are less dependent. So soul has dependence on body, but when this dependence is reduced, it becomes stronger. Those who become more spiritual, they have less dependence on body. And for them, either they can die voluntarily, or when their death comes, it's not a big deal. Yeah? If I have a dress, and this dress is normal dress, it's easy to put it off and take another dress. But if this dress has always been with me, and now my flesh has got into the holes of this dress, then you cannot remove this dress. Yeah? It's like surgery. So then death becomes very difficult. Anyway, soul by its essence is not material, but in its actions need our body. Body can have impact on your soul, soul can have impact on your body. And then we have aql. And here by aql we don't mean human intellect, we mean independent reality. We call them uqul or aql as a singular. And that is a substance which is mujarrad, it's abstract in both essence and action. No need for any physical body, physical object. It's called aql. Of course, philosophers have different opinions about number of these intellects. For example, Masha'un, peripatetic philosophers, had the idea that we have 10 uqul. The last one is aql fa'al, active intellect, which is the nearest to dunya, to the physical world. The lowest, but nearest to us. Because we are in the physical world under uqul. First is wajibul wujud, then aql awwal, then second, third, aql fa'al. Aql fa'al runs the material physical world. This is the idea of Masha'un. Some people may disagree about 10. What is important is that uqul mujarrade have no potential. Everything is 100% actual. Whatever they can be, they are. There is no waiting condition for them. There is no upgrade or downgrade. Okay? They are fully actualized. According to some philosophers, they say angels are uqul. Some philosophers, they say angels are in this category. They don't change. They are ma minna illa lahu maqamun ma'loom. They have a fixed position. Okay, now after talking about these 5, which of course I did also last session, we want to focus more on jism, because there are different opinions and we want to explore those opinions. You have a question?
Yeah, Sheikh,
Yes.
what's the relationship between nafs and aql?
Two independent types of being. Both are mujarradun zatan, but nafs is not mujarrad in its fi'l, in its actions. Aql is mujarrad in fi'l as well. And 100% actualized. Yes.
Can you explain about ukul? You said the angels are ukul. Because we have so far been saying aql is ukul. Can you explain further to make us understand?
So, some people who have philosophical approach, they say that angels, because muhaddisin, those who are more following hadith, they don't believe angels are mujarradat, and they don't believe angels cannot commit sins. There are, for example, some muhaddisin who mention the stories of maybe some angels committing sins based on some hadith. But those who have more philosophical approach, they say angels are mujarrad, they are immaterial, because they don't have any temptations, any material desires, they don't commit any sin. And also they cannot go higher or lower because they don't have choice. For example, it's not that one of the angels can work harder and precede another angel. Or, for example, one angel may become lazy and lose its position. Everything for them is fixed, and they live according to their best capacity. They are already functioning at the level of the best capacity that they have. There is no reserved capacity. There is no unused or unutilized capacity. Yes.
The nafs you said is mujarrad.
Yes. But mujarrad in not every aspect, in zat. Okay.
By ukul you mean full capacity. What do you mean the actual word ukul?
Means whatever they can be, they are.
Whatever, see. So they function at full
Yes.
capacity.
Even, inshallah, in future you will learn that actually uqul cannot have different instances. Every intellect is unique. Every species has only one being. I don't want to enter into that discussion, but that's also a beautiful discussion. So they are not like us human beings. You can have billions of human beings, or animals. You can have millions of horses or elephants. In uqul, everyone only has one reality, not different instances. Because just maybe give you a little idea. Because when you have different instances, it means that there are differences as well as commonalities. And when there are differences, means it's subject to changes. It means that then there are potentialities. So when something is 100% actual, then it cannot have different instances. So كل مجرد نوع بذاته. Remember this for grave. كل مجرد نوع بذاته. So if something is 100% mujarrad, it's by itself one new type of reality, as one species. Okay, now let's go to jism. There is a range of ideas about jism. You can say body or corporeal substance, jism. متكلمون, theologians, they had the idea, mean Muslim متكلمين, they had the idea that every physical substance or material substance comprises parts which by themselves are not jism. By themselves have no three dimensions. They don't have height or they don't have width, but you can point at them. Very important. They comprise of parts that are not three-dimensional. They don't have height or width or depth, but still you can point at them. Vaz, we say vaz hissi, means there is a direction that you can point at them, but they don't have any dimension. In other words, they are not jism themselves. So every jism or every piece of like wood, metal you take, it is made of or comprises parts which are not themselves jism, because they have no three dimensions. But you can point at them. Then they used to call these parts جزء لا يتجزأ. جزء لا يتجزأ. What does it mean? A part which cannot be divided. Because to be able to divide, it should have dimensions. It doesn't have three dimensions. It's not, sabu'di as we say, za ab'adin thalatha. No, it's not three-dimensional. So, they used to believe in juz' la yatajza. It has become very famous. When they want to refer to this idea, they say they believe in juz' la yatajazza. Means they believe in parts which cannot be divided. Okay?
Yeah, I think they mentioned them as atoms in this book.
No, that comes later.
That's later.
That's Democritus. So, these mutakallimin, these theologians, most of them had the idea that these parts are limited in number. They are mutanahi. They are finite. They are limited in number. But it is said that Nadham is one of the mutakallimin who was apparently a student of Hisham ibn Hakam, had the idea that these parts are unlimited. There's an infinite number of parts. So, one opinion is opinion of mutakallimin, that they believe every jism that you see, despite appearing to you as one unit, is not one unit. It's made of many parts which are not by themselves divided. Even for example, you cannot say they have width or height, but you can point at them. Another opinion is opinion of Democritus. He had the idea that every jism, every physical object that you take, has parts But these parts have dimensions. So they themselves are a smaller jism. So every big jism comprises a smaller jism. But it reaches the point that these little ones may not be possible to divide them further because we don't have tools. They become very small. But still, in your mind or mathematically, you can divide them. Because even if there is very, very little size, still you can say half of it. Then half of it. Mathematically, you can divide them, but practically, it's too little for you to divide. Unless now, with some equipment, you can break, very small parts also. So, the idea of Democritus is known in the philosophical language as the idea of having ذرات صغار صلبه, means hard, small parts, or you can say undivided small parts, undivided particles, like atoms.
Like undivided or indivisible? You can't divide it further.
Indivisible. No, actually it's divisible, but undivided. Mathematically, you can divide them, but it's not possible. Then we have the idea of philosophers. So, in addition to mutakallimin and in addition to Democritus, we have the idea of philosophers.
Democritus was a philosopher as well.
Yes, but he was, before Socrates, I think. Philosophers from the time of Socrates up to 19th century, because in the 19th century, after, I think, invention of microscope and, then electronic microscopes, they realized that we cannot say everything is one part. But from the time of Socrates up to the 19th century, most of philosophers had this idea that everything that you see as one unit, it's really one. So if you have a piece of wood, a piece of metal, some water, they used to say that it's one simple, body, one simple unit.
So the river is one unit.
Yes. Anything that you take is one. And they had the idea that they are accepting division. They can be divided, but they are not actually divided. So they were not aware that when you have a piece of wood or a piece of sand, it's not one thing. Okay? So, this was a common idea among many philosophers, that things are simple. Then they themselves had two opinions. Some people had the idea that this simple reality that we have is only one thing, which is surat jasmiyya, the physical form. And this is the idea of Ishraqiyun, illuminationist philosophers. But followers of Aristotle, peripatetic philosophers, had the idea that we already mentioned, that although you look at them and think it's one thing, but it has two substantial parts. Madde, the first, the primary matter, madde ula, hayula, and surat al-jasmiyah. So they were distinguishing between the potential side and the actual form, according to Aristotle and his followers. So they were saying this simple piece of wood, in substance, after our analysis, has two parts. Madde ula or hayula, primary matter, and surat al-jasmiyah, the form. But some people said no. We don't believe that there is such a thing as madde ula. Because madde ula is 100% potentiality. And they say we don't believe that there is such a thing as 100% potentiality. So, after this, in the book, there is one lesson about madde ula. One lesson about juz' la yatajazza. One lesson about zarrat al-siqar, those small parts that cannot be divided, according to Democritus. So there are three lessons, but I don't think it's necessary to study those three lessons, because now this is something that most of it scientifically is, known, and we know, at least. Of course, we can have philosophical study about madde and surat, but at least we know that the idea that there is no small parts, or there is no, for example, possibility of dividing, that mutakallimin were saying juz' la yatajazza. These are not scientifically acceptable today. So I think, therefore, we don't need to discuss the next three lessons, and inshallah we go to the next section, which is very important. It's about change. Already I have mentioned for you some times, about change and two types of change: gradual change, which is haraka, or sudden change, which is kawn and fasad. We talked about it sometime, but inshallah we will have more detailed discussion. So, is it clear now, the idea of 5 types of substance? Madde, surat, jism, nafs, and aql. Clear? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Yes. You have question?
Yeah.
So let me stop this.
The